It's Mono Green Tron. Both of these players have had fantastic years here on the SCG Tour. They'll be given the green light to begin in just a moment, and round number 10 will be underway here in just a sec from the Indianapolis Convention Center. We'll get our deck list in front of us. You see Harvey's already off to a great start here with Urza's Tower, into Expedition Map to get his day started off just fine. Hobbs and his Jund Death Shadow list. A little bit of innovation here with a couple copies of Once Upon a Time. That one, of course, from Throne of Eldraine. Don't see that one a ton just yet in Modern. Mostly we see it in Tron decks, but Harvey electing not to play the new instant from Throne of Eldraine. However, Hobbs will start the game off with a copy for free, as it is his first spell of the game. He'll take a look at a couple different cards, among them a Snow-Covered Forest and a Nurturing Peatland. Speaking of the Peatland, he will select that. And we'll see where he'll go from there.
So you can see Tarmogoyf plus Temur Battle Rage. Not a bad collection of cards to have for this matchup. Again, Hobbs is going to have to kind of combo kill in this game. Can't play that many turns.
We'll see a Thoughtseize here from Jonathan. A hand of Chromatic Star, Chromatic Sphere, Dismember, it appears, along with a Thragtusk and a Urza's Power Plant, which means, as usual, Harvey is only one piece away from having 7 mana on turn number 3. He knows what hands to keep when he plays this deck.
So he's got Tron ready to go on the 3rd turn with the 2nd Tron piece plus the map. And with the Stars and Spheres, he can launder some colorless mana into some green mana and cast a Tarmogoyf in his hand as well, plus a Dismember to answer a threat. This is pretty much a perfect hand here for Harvey. And you can see Hobbs taking a long time on this one because he has the Tarmogoyf, so you want to take the Dismember, but, you know, beating the Thragtusk going to be challenging as well.
Yeah, there's no real easy choice here, unfortunately.
Well, I think Hobbs' plan here is my Tarmogoyf's likely to die, but hopefully Harvey just doesn't draw another payoff card for a long time, and maybe my 2nd threat card could be good enough.
So the Thragtusk will bite the dust. Dom very simply plays his Urzaland and sends it back over to Hobbs, who's down to 17. Let's make it 16 now, and potentially 14, given the deck that he's playing. And it will be 14 as he finds an untapped Blood Crypt. There is a Tarmogoyf off of the Peatland, so Hobbs will fall down to 13. And Harvey's going to sacrifice his Expedition Map. Go get himself an Urza's Mine, and we'll see what his 3rd turn of the game brings. Has he drawn a Wormcoil Engine or a Karn Liberated? We'll have to find out.
A little bit of a risk here from Hobbs. You see with the Inquisition in hand, could have Inquisitioned first and taken a Dismember. I have some concerns that he might not get another opportunity to cash in that Inquisition, because we know Harvey's hand is the Dismember that he could cast on the Tarmogoyf and a bunch of cycling artifacts that he can just deploy on the battlefield.
Well, the bad news here for Harvey is that Tarmogoyf's a 5/6 now because there's an artifact in the graveyard. So the Dismember is actually not going to get the job done anymore. Here is a Chromatic Sphere.
Oh, the Thragtusk is the creature. Yes. I was like, nothing's died yet. I just had it in my head as 4/5, but yeah, he's covered.
The green mana floating here for Harvey. And now there's a star. So a colorless and a green floating here for Harvey. Now we got 2 green. Now there's another sphere and a map. with some mana left over. Now, Harvey does have a copy of Karn the Great Creator in hand, but nothing to do with it just yet. So he'll pass the turn back, maybe a little bit more setup, perhaps going to be sacrificing that map for another tower, maybe a blast zone, who knows. But at this stage of things, no real payoff on the third turn, having access to 7 mana, so we head back over to Johnny Hobbs.
Yeah, not a great spot for Karn the Great Creator there. Hobbs would just be able to run it down, and nothing Harvey could get that's immediately impactful.
Modern classic players.
Inquisition of Kozilek looks like it was going to be played, but it's going to be Mistress Bobble instead. Perhaps Harvey will be responding with something here. He might be considering that Dismember, but nothing to do with it. So Dismember will be taken. Karn and an Urza land is what's left over. It's an Urza's power plant, so Hobbs will record that information.
Yeah, it really doesn't save Harvey anything to alt cost a Dismember to shrink a Tarmogoyf, so just going to let it go. Use his mana left over for other things like the Expedition map.
It is important to note as well as this game continues to unfold, Hobbs figuring out what lands he wants to play. He's going to play an Overgrown Tomb untapped, fall down to 11. Harvey's build of this deck is a little bit different. You can see it on Cardboard Live. We want to give a shout out to them as Tarmogoyf is going to come across in the red zone. But, you know, some of the payoffs that you'd expect to see, like Ugin and Ulamog, they're not in his deck this weekend.
No, he's. I mean, I don't think those threats are all that well served for fighting the Urza decks that have taken over. I think Harvey agrees, in his list is trying to interact a little bit earlier against aggressive strategies with the Red Tusk and be able to interact with really impactful early creatures with a Dismember.
Now, of course, he has plenty of Karns, 4 of each, and 3 Wormcoil engines, and what we saw a little bit earlier in the tournament, we saw yesterday that copy of Emrakul the Promised End. But Ulamog to come down and buzzsaw Tarmogoyfs and lands and everything else that card does, you will not find it here this weekend for Dominic Harvey.
All right, Modern classic players.
So we will head back over to Harvey, who will not crack the Expedition map.
Welcome to round 2.
It appears he has bigger plans. He's thinking about playing that Urza's power plant that Hobbs already knows about, but he has not. And so he'll play a 7-mana Karn. Very timely draw. That'll come down, that'll take care of the Tarmogoyf. And we will head back over to Hobbs.
Attention Magic players, we're looking for one more person to begin our next Throne of Eldraine booster draft of the weekend.
You see the Tarmogoyf has been exiled by the Karn, so it will sit underneath that powerful Planeswalker for right now. Over to Hobbs we will go. He's picked up a Verdant Catacombs, but he is behind the 8-ball now.
Another issue that Death Shadow has in this kind of matchup is they're often on a singular threat. It's not like they flood the battlefield, which means that Planeswalkers that come with a removal spell attached to them are pretty problematic. And Karn comes with quite the removal spell attached.
I would say that it does, yes. Death Shadow is going to be found here via Traverse the Uvenwald, given that Hobbs does have Delirium with an instant, a sorcery, an artifact, and a land in the graveyard right now. That is a Verdant Catacombs. This is a Death Shadow.
Looks like still some hesitation here from Harvey. Be surprised here because this seems like such a good spot to get Blast Zone as cover.
It seems like it's fairly good, and that's exactly what he's going to go grab. Blast Zone can take care of the Death Shadow. Karn can actually go up now as opposed to going down. And you just saw some patience with Harvey and that expedition map where he could have sacrificed it the previous turn, elected not to, because he wasn't sure what he wanted to go get. So that one of Blast Zone, he also has a one of Nurturing Peatland of his own as far as cards that he can search up. But with the exclusion of Ulamog and Ugin and other things like that, you'll also find that he does not have a copy of Sanctum of Ugin.
Yeah, he really can't spike with it.
Yeah.
So it's made room here for a Blast Zone and a Nurturing Peatland, and I think that was what he was pausing on. If Hobbs doesn't present anything good, you get the Peatland somewhere down the line to draw a card, and if the Blast Zone becomes good, then you want to go get it.
Dominic Harvey's going to win game number 1 here over Jonathan Hobbs. Mono Green Tron up a game here over Jund Death's Shadow, a deck that Harvey loves to play. He is starting to rack up even more wins with. His Sunday is off to a very, very nice start. As we take a look at the sideboards here, we will start with Jonathan Hobbs, who has 4 Collective Brutality, 3 Alpine Moon, 2 Veil of Summer, 2 Fulminator Mage, a Collector Oof, a Plague Engineer, a Liliana the Veil, and a Kolaghan's Command.
I'm really into the copies of Alpine Moon, Fulminator Mage, Collector Oof, and Kolaghan's Command. All the cards that Hobbs has here that are good either against artifacts or against lands he's going to want to bring in. He's got a lot of sideboard here for upgrades.
For Dominic Harvey, how can he change his deck? Well, he's got those one-ofs that he can find with Karn the Great Creator and Trinisphere and Snaring Bridge, Liquid Metal Coating, Mycosynth Lattice, Relic of Progenitus, and Golos Tireless Pilgrim. But he's also got 3 Nature's Claims, 3 Veil of Summer, and 3 Leyline of Sanctity.
I think the only thing you could really consider here in the sideboard are the... I suppose you could bring in Veil of Summer and Leyline of Sanctity. You could do both here. I don't know how much room he wants. The Leyline of Sanctity seems a little extreme to me. But I could be talked into Veil of Summer.
Veil of Summer seems like the best of the bunch. Leyline of Sanctity, are you really going to mulligan for that kind of card in this
I don't
matchup?
think so. It's not like an anti. It's not like it is against Burn. It's okay here if it's in your opening hand, but I think the risk of drawing it outweighs the benefit of it being in your opening hand.
Well, we'll see how Dom does elect the sideboard. As again, he is up a game here against young Johnny Hobbs, so Hobbs will be on the play here for game number 2 if he so chooses. In the meantime, we'll talk about the StarCityGames.com weekly sale, where every week we change it up a little bit, but oftentimes you'll find that hundreds of singles are on sale every single Monday. Now, we'll change it up at 11 a.m. East Coast time tomorrow, so you've got some time until 10:59 a.m. to check out this sale, where you can save on Command Tower, Vandal Blast, Atraxa, Praetor's Voice, and Patrick Sullivan staple, Kitchen Finks. Go to StarCityGames.com/sale. Bookmark that page. Again, we change this sale every single Monday at 11 a.m. East Coast time. Game number 2 about to be underway here between Jonathan Hobbs and Dominic Harvey. We learn more about the player on the right there, and Dominic Harvey, a 26-year-old from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. No Opens played last year, which means no top 8s and no wins. We didn't see him on the SCG Tour at all. But once he actually did move to Toronto, he decided he wanted to play some Magic, and the member of Team Nova has been doing exactly that with 4 Open top 8s this year, 3 wins, and he might be on his way to a 5th Open top 8 and a 4th win if things go the way that he's hoping.
Just quite the resume here in 2019. I don't know if we've seen essentially a rookie year like this ever on the SCG Tour.
He has demonstrated a prowess with many decks, a very sound understanding of Modern, I will certainly say, and he is looking really darn good right now, I must say. This Tron deck has done him very, very well. Won that Open in Columbus earlier this year and might be winning another Open in the Midwest here in Indianapolis. That is Dominic Harvey, an amateur podcaster and member of Team Nova. Do remember, we got a busy day in front of us here at the Indianapolis Convention Center. 6 rounds total. Todd Anderson, Ryan Overturf, they'll be jumping in the booth the next 2 rounds to work you deeper into this tournament. Nick Miller's already getting to work on his metagame breakdown, so we'll see more of that later today. We'll publish all those deck lists that made day number 2 of competition after round 15 is all done. You'll get to choose the quarterfinals at home. Don't forget about that. And then, of course, we'll work our way through those elimination rounds and crown ourselves a champion here in Indy. So there's a lot on the line here this weekend for our players. Prize slide. Been a good start to the weekend. 9 rounds already in the books. 6 today. And whoever does win this weekend, walking out of here with $5,000, 30 SCG points, an invite to our Season 2 Invitational SCG Con Winter, which is coming up next month. Both these players already invited, of course. But don't forget about the Arcbound Ravager promos that we give to players for their top 32 finishes here this weekend. now as part of the SCG Tour and some Players Tour qualifications as well. In our individual events, they'll go to the winner and the finalists. For our team events, it goes to the winner of the event. So that means that Matthew Dilks, Daryl Ayers, and Jonathan Awesome Rossum, they got their Players Tour qualification in Philadelphia last weekend. Match points and SCG points allocated on your right. And you can learn more about our opens at go.starcitygames.com/opens. Looks like both these players have found hands they're happy with. They'll be given the green light. And Jonathan Hobbs, again, on the play here. He just needs to figure out where he wants to start. It'll be Once Upon a Time again.
Can't start anywhere else, so.
That's true. He'll take a look at his hand. And now those 5 cards he gets to choose from. A powerful new card from Throne of Eldraine, pardon me, will find a Street Wraith. But Hobbs will cycle, so he'll fall down to 18. Picked up another copy of Once Upon a Time, I believe, so he'll have to actually pay the mana for that one. And now there's an Inquisition of Kozilek.
Yeah, second copy, not nearly as good as the first, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Be interesting to see how over time people want to, kind of use the numbers here on that card because it's so powerful. The first copy, at least. The diminishing returns add up really fast. Are you playing 4 because it's just so good? We've already seen the Amulet Titan players very quickly incorporate 4 copies of that card.
Yep.
What do some of the decks that are exploiting it more modestly, like Death Shadow, do? 1, 2, 0, more? I don't know. I think it's going to be an evolving conversation.
A Wormcoil Engine and Dismember, 2 Expedition maps, a Chromatic Star, Ancient Stirrings, and an Urza's Tower is the hand that Dominic Harvey has elected to keep. Pretty good hand here, I'd say. Again, he's got the Dismember for early interaction, Stirrings to maybe find some goodies, and a payoff card there in Wormcoil Engine with the ability to slowly but surely find Tron. So makes sense as a keep to me.
Yeah, high ceiling. Floor is pretty low. I mean, it's easy to see how this one could go badly.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't draw another Tron piece, or his first draw steps another tower. This hand's going to be really slow to develop, but I think this is an acceptable 7.
Ancient Stirrings will bite the dust. And we'll be heading back over to Dom Harvey now for his first turn of the game, I believe. It's the Tower of Power, and there's a Chromatic Star electing to not go with the map. We will now see it traverse the Uvenwald here for Jonathan Hobbs. And he'll get a Bloodstained Mire because he...
already had Delirium. Instant sorcery, land, creature.
Yeah. Instant, Once Upon a Time, sorcery, Inquisition, land, fetch land, creature, Street Wraith.
Keep in mind, Traverse is a little bit funky. When you do not have Delirium, you can only find a basic land. With Delirium, you can find any land.
Oh, that was pretty neat. And now here's a turn 2 Death Shadow. Just going to be a 1/1, but it can grow pretty quickly. Don't forget there is a Dismember hanging out over there in Harvey's hand as well. We head back over to Harvey now. Picked up a copy of Blast Zone.
And this is the way the hand goes wrong. The right draw step there on the first turn, it could have gotten him to a turn 3 Tron, and then, you go from there. Here he's going to be, looks like probably spending a little bit of time kind of spinning tires, not having Tron, and, even with that 1/1 Death Shadow, Hobbs is threatening to grow it very quickly.
Ancient Stirrings is going to find a Urza's Mine, so he's only 1 Tron piece away. You see he's got actually a tower in his hand now, too, along with that Blast Zone. And he's going to fire off Dismember right now to take care of the Death Shadow. So Harvey's going to fall down to 16 in that exchange, but Death Shadow no longer on the battlefield as we head back over to Hobbs, who does have a Tarmogoyf, a Temur Battle Rage, another copy of Once Upon a Time as mentioned earlier. And it looks like he may also have a copy of Fulminator Mage, but I don't think he has the mana to cast it right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's deciding between, do I Once Upon a Time trying to find land number 3 for a Fulminator next turn, or do I just play my Tarmogoyf and hope to hit it?
Looks like he will play a Tarmogoyf, and we'll head back over to Harvey now. There's the Blast Zone. And of course, we know that Harvey does have a copy of Expedition map. So he'll deploy the map with the ability to, of course, sacrifice the map, find the Urza's power plant, and have access to 8 mana on the following turn if he so chooses.
Well, that was a huge draw step there from Hobbs there. Land number 3. And I think we're going to see Fulminator Mage here on one of those Tron pieces in short order. Teamer Battle Rage in hand. I think Hobbs has got a shot at pushing this to game 3.
I think he does as well. Tarmogoyf's going to come into the red zone here. We'll get our Tarmo die out there to let everybody know how large that creature is. It is a 5/6 right now, so it doesn't take much for that one to end the game. Harvey going to fall down to 11 and simply pass the turn back. So, interesting that we don't see Hobbs deploy the Fulminator Mage. I am a little surprised.
Yeah. I mean, he must have some desire to leave up the Kolgon's command, but
Clearly.
I don't know for what.
Well, there's the mine, and that is a Karn, and now this game has taken a turn. I can't quite figure it out, partner.
I mean, this is a lot of trouble now
Yes.
because you have nothing on the battlefield. Your Team of Battle Rage is stranded.
Karn's a really good Magic card.
There's no guarantee that your Fulminator next turn is even going to be able to keep him off anything for very long because any other search effect is going to muck that up.
And now there's another map.
Right, so now you're off of even being able to break up Tron in the long term. And if the plan here was you wanted a Kolgon's command to rebuy the
Death Shadow, perhaps?
that's been complicated by the Blast Zone that you knew about.
That's also true. Looks like a misstep here from Hobbs.
Well,
We'll have to see.
that play of using Fulminator Mage is so straightforward there that I can't imagine he just checked out of the turn. There's some line that he wanted to set up here.
He'll deal 2 there and get back the Shadow. Now the Karn can't take care of the Shadow, but the Blast Zone can, unless Hobbs draws a land, in which case he would be able to actually Fulminator Mage the Blast Zone and then have the Death Shadow maybe get the job done.
Yeah, but we're back into the same sort of jam we talked about before. These Death Shadow decks, they don't really flood the battlefield with threats. So the enter the battlefield, terminate Planeswalkers, it's a lot of trouble.
Well, here's a couple of knuckleheads here in Tarmogoyf and Death Shadow.
Standard classic players, that is time in the round. Active players finish your turn and play up to 5.
And we know that Hobbs does have a copy of Teamer Battle Rage in hand alongside that Once Upon a Time that has been gummed up a little bit.
Yeah, but Harvey's found an Oblivion Stone here too.
That might be the perfect find.
That's the
That solves maybe every problem.
might be the check mark here.
Harvey going to take a long think on this turn. He'll start by plussing Karn. I think Once Upon a Time will be headed that way, and it is. That one much too slow in this spot. Hobbs with Teamer Battle Rage and Fulminator Mage left in hand.
I wonder if the issue here from Harvey's side is there could be some efficiency gained by breaking the map and getting whatever, a tower most likely. But the act of doing that suddenly exposes you to a land destruction spell because then your Tron is broken up. So do you want to just sit on this map for as long as you can as insurance about a discrete Tron piece being removed versus just being as efficient as possible breaking the map now?
Well, Harvey doesn't really know about the Fulminator Mage that his opponent has. Because if his opponent had a Fulminator Mage, his thought process has to be they would have played it.
Oh, I mean, I'll say this. Hobbs's Fulminator Mage are very well concealed right now.
Yes.
I would.
Yes. Yes. Way to turn that negative into a positive.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't be playing around it were I in Harvey's position.
Yes, neither would I. Well, there's the fetch.
And I mean, Harvey's just got this block of, if you send both, just Worm Coil in front of Tarmogoyf, pass to you. You have the Blast Zone to handle the Death Shadow. And how are you supposed to brawl with a Worm Coil engine?
Yeah.
Let me stop you. It's not a rhetorical question. Yeah. It's impossible. It's impossible to, it's impossible. No one's ever done it. It's impossible.
It's literally impossible.
Whatever you think, however you think this is going to go, it's going to be worse than that.
Yep. There's your TBR. Okay.
Harvey still waiting for the punchline.
Yep. Just make it hurt. Stomping ground tapped. We may see Harvey use that blast zone. Maybe.
I think, you'd prefer not to, but
I mean, because you lose your map.
But, if Hobbs is pushing all of his resources in the middle here, then, you can afford to be down the map. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, and this is a declaration of that. So, Expedition map's going to bite the dust here from the blast zone. We'll make sure that gets cleared up. And, of course, he'll get his tokens. That's taken care of. So 2 worms on the way here for Harvey. Hobbs used all of his resources. And Dom has 2 3/3s and a Karn on the battlefield. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got is a yeah. Elevator going up. I would no concede. Concede. Don't show it. Don't show the Fulminator.
No. Yeah.
That's where you scoop her up. There's no.
You gotta let it go.
Yeah.
You gotta let that one go.
Don't show that, Johnny. I like it. Just pass. No scoop. Put a fake counter on the O-Stone. What is this? K command? 2 to me. 2 to me. And destroy an artifact. Dominic Harvey is going to win this game and match you over Jonathan Hobbs, 2-0. Mono Green Tron going to take care of Death Shadow. And for Dominic Harvey, he is in first place, 10-0, and 1 step closer to top 8ing this tournament. And more importantly for him, especially if you follow him on social media, 1 step closer to qualifying for the Star